Welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined once again, Wise Take regular, Wise Take member, Cuse, aka Syracuse. You can find him on Twitter at Syracuse with 4 E's. That's Syracuse with 4 E's. We got Paulie 8 D's and we got Cuse 4 E's. Cuse, how's it going, brother?
How's it going, man? Good, you?
Yeah, but good, man. So real quick, man, we got you on the show again. We just want to give a quick shout out. Your NASCAR stuff over the weekend was fire, and I don't play NASCAR, but like the feedback that we got on it, it was pretty legit. So I want to commend you on that, and it's something that we have free on the site. So props for the NASCAR stuff. And before I stop there, also your WNBA projections, which we also have for free up on the site. I'm getting some great feedback on that stuff too, man. So phenomenal job. You also do the pitchers hot or not, and we appreciate that. You're always in the chat. All the chats pretty much just waiting to help people out at the site, helping out our members and everything like that. So shout out real quick to Cuse, man. We know you work hard. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Glad to be a part, man.
Awesome. The live show was fun, man. Like we had a great response last night on the podcast. You know, I felt like it was a good show, and I felt like we kind of just like leveled down, and you know, we explained what the company's about and how we want to teach people not just to, we just want to have a site and have them give us money, but it's more so about it's what's good for the industry. We enjoy this game, like we love this game. Like it gives us like a newfound passion for the sports that we always loved our whole lives. Like it just gives us like that extra, you know what I mean? Like that extra interest. It gives us a vested interest, right? And
right.
And so we want this industry to last, and the only way it's going to last is if it gets competitive. Because if people keep losing, if you consistently lose over and over and over again, you're not going to play anymore because you're just going to run out of money. Right? So it's like we want the industry to go, so we need players to be good. If the players just come and all the top players just keep knocking them out every time because these guys don't know what contests to be in, or they don't know where to start, or they don't know what game theory is, or they don't even know what stats to look at, and they just play their favorite guys. No, we want you to keep playing. We want you to understand this is fun. This is a great thing. You know, and we want to help like teach that to people. We want the industry to be competitive. It's what's good for the industry. And that's the only way that we're all going to keep playing is if this industry grows. It's still a young industry, you know. It's still like a huge like I say it all the time. Like of course online you meet all these people that play and you realize how many people do play it. But like personally, where I live, I'm in Jersey. I'm not like in the boondocks. You know what I mean? Like you know what it is, Cuse. You're in the tri-state area. You're in Connecticut, so you know what it is. And like I don't know one other person personally who plays like MLB DFS. I don't. Like
I don't too. I know too.
That's what I'm saying. That's it. And so if it's so popular, it is, but it's not there yet. Like there's still like meanwhile I can touch about like 50 people who've bet on sports before. So it's like, and that's not even legal.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like the industry can get there. There's a lot of room for growth, but it's only going to do it if people become better at it. You know, and so that's what we're all about. And so
I mean, the articles that Joe, Paulie, that everybody's putting out are just been absolutely gold lately. I mean, you go back, you read the articles after the slates, and everybody's hitting it right on the head.
Oh man, and real quick, shout out to Jack, Raider. I think it's Raider 80 Nation or Raider Nation. We'll just call him. He's one of our subscribers, and you'll see him in the testimonial section. He's got 2 screenshots up there about how since he's been with us, his ROI has increased dramatically. He had 5 tickets into the 444. And we had helped him out during. You remember Cuse? We helped him out during the live show today, and I know he went with Peacock, who was a phenomenal take. I think he got just as good as Kershaw, and he was obviously significantly cheaper. And so good luck to him. I think he's still sweating it out. I know he has a couple lineups that are in play, from what I understand. I think Paulie's in the contest, and he was telling us about it. So shout out to him, man. We're happy for you. I mean, we're sweating with you, and good luck, my man. We definitely want to hear about it tomorrow. For sure. But it's exciting, man. We got members, we got a lot of things going on, man. People are winning, people are excited, and it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. This whole community, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, like you guys said today, man. Seeing the members win, that's It's just as good as winning yourself.
Oh yeah, because we're like one step closer to reaching our goal. It's like that's a win for us, and think about it, we spend all this time doing research, yada yada yada, like, and then our guys take the time to put it and write it down. Like you guys, we all take the time to be in the chat. Like, instead of just like, I know what I like, I'm doing good, so I'm just gonna do my own thing and just forget it. Like everybody's on board and like answering questions and trying to help people, and that's what it's all about, man. And like, listen, man, some of our subs, man, they're starting to catch on. We hear some takes out there that you can catch off guard, and then next thing you know, it's doing well. So like, it's working, man. Like, it's just working. Yeah,
Yeah, we got some really good subs. I mean, definitely knowledgeable.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, you could learn from anybody in that chat. And it's awesome, man. But anyway, man, we got two big slates to talk about right now. We're gonna cover both because we like to cover anything over 5, and I think is it right at 5?
It's like 7 and 8.
Oh,
right?
wow!
I think it's 7 and 8. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so
could be wrong.
Let's stretch it out real quick and here we go, Cuse.
Right. I'm ready.
All right, first game of the early slate, we got J.A. Happ, the lefty from the Toronto Blue Jays, visiting Brian Johnson, the lefty from the. Wait a minute. That's
I was like,
that's yesterday's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say
or
this.
Today.
I'm having deja vu, man. All right.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have the moon.
I'm like, I have a feeling the Blue Jays and Red Sox are both going to score at least 3 runs. I don't know why. I just have this feeling. Oh man. Okay, so wait a minute. I'm seeing on FanDuel, is there only 2 slates?
I'm not sure. I know DraftKings is 7 and 8. FanDuel is. FanDuel, they've been breaking it up lately, so I'm sure they did that again.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing 4 at the 12 and then 8 at the 7.
Yeah,
they're just cutting out a bunch of games there, huh?
Yep, theirs is 4 and 8. Yep.
All right, so
DraftKings is 7 and 8.
Hey,
so.
no problem. We'll talk about it for DraftKings' sake then. How about that?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. I got the DraftKings prices pulled up. Here we go. Okay. Mike Montgomery, the lefty from the Chicago Cubs, visiting R.A. Dickey of the Atlanta Braves.
Montgomery, I don't really have any interest in. Dickey, we talked about him a little bit last week when he's been pitching pretty well. Last week he pitched when it was Paulie had mentioned the temperatures and the knuckleball not moving, and he didn't have a great game, but he didn't have a bad game. I think on DraftKings he ended up with like 13.5 points. It still wasn't bad because I forgot who he was facing. Maybe it was like Washington, which is a pretty good offensive team. So depending on the weather and the order for Chicago, I might have some interest in Dickey. As far as the bats, that's also going to depend on the weather as far as if I like Chicago or not. But I definitely like the Atlanta bats. You get Freeman in there. Freeman loves his home park. He can still hit lefties. You also got Matt Kemp, who's starting to hit a little bit more, and you got Brandon Phillips usually in the 2-hole.
Yeah, man. I'm with you on the Braves bets. I think they're certainly in play. They've been playing well. They even did well for us when we were all on Leicester the other day. They were nice to us and like they broke their hot streak just enough to get us Leicester in there. So I'm cool with the Braves. And then obviously today we saw, I think Markakis hit one so far. They're still going, but but yeah, man, I don't see a reason to stop with the Braves. We got guys like Kemp. Obviously Phillips, you mentioned, is a guy that people never play him because he's been bad this year, and he has. But listen, if you're gonna take a shot on a stack against a lefty, this is he's one of those guys you don't want to leave him out of a stack. Not against
the one guy I do love. I don't know if he's gonna play tomorrow. Is Camargo. He usually bats way down on the bottom of the order. So
that's a good point.
GPP, but I mean, he's got 33 at bats for his lefties, and his OBP is 471, and his exit velocity is almost like 92. Wow. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's hitting the ball hard, and that's what we're looking for in tournaments, man. We don't know who's in the ball hard now. We want to know who's in the ball hard. But Dickey, you're right, man. It's weird. He has had this newfound success. It's hard to get an idea of why. I don't know if his knuckleball is moving better. Maybe it's been a little more humid. I really have no idea. But the Cubs seem like they're heating up a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. This could be like R.A. Dickey is like the guy's knuckleball. So it's like you're doing well. You're seeing the ball, fastballs, curveballs, and then you get a knuckleball. And it can be difficult. So it's one of those things. We're gonna have to see how it goes tomorrow. If they're gonna be popular, I don't want them if they're popular because you can kind of see them busting, right? Like if they're popular. If they're like whatever, then sure. But it's one of those spots where if the Cubs become chalk, you can see Dickey just really just stopping them for a game, just with that knuckler. Let's see. We got Nick Pivetta of the Philadelphia Phillies visiting Dan Straley of the Miami Marlins. What you got?
Pivetta has been pitching. He was on a really good hot streak of late. His last game out, he got beat up a little bit. So I'm not big on Pivetta tomorrow. Straley, I think, is somebody interesting even for a DK for cash. Maybe a DK2. FanDuel cash, I don't know. Maybe some GPP on FanDuel. But Straley, I have a little bit of interest in. And the Miami bats, I really like tomorrow. They've been hitting the ball really well, and they look good up against Pivetta, stat-wise. As far as the Philly bats, I really don't have too much interest in those at all tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Maybe Herrera, if anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Like, yeah, there are some Philly guys you can take, obviously. So Hernandez is back; he's always interesting. But Galvis and all these guys. But I like Straley, I do. I look like he's 9.2 on DraftKings. That's interesting. I was
gonna say his price. His price is kind of up
there. Yeah. I just when I looked at it, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like on FanDuel at 8.6, I like Straley a lot. But honestly, even at 9.2, like I got to see with the other pitchers. I haven't even really looked yet for the DraftKings slate, so I'm not sure what other pitchers lie ahead. But like,
it's not pretty.
If it's not pretty, then you might have to consider Straley. I really don't mind him. His xOBA numbers at home, or first of all, he's pitched 5% better at home, which makes sense. He plays in a pitcher's park primarily. He's gotten at home. He's got an 8.7 K per 9, and his xOBA lefty righty is 242 to lefties, 248 to righties. It's decent, and like he doesn't have a major split. Like his swinging strike rate overall is like 12.8, and like that split, like swinging strike rate at home specifically is 6.62. So it's slightly high. It makes sense. He's like right halfway. There's no real advantage like home or away. So I don't mind them. And the Phillies, they could be pretty bad. And I feel like just like what you said, Cuse, he's expensive at 9.2 on DraftKings. It's like 9.2. Really? Like you're never excited. So in tournaments, he could be a way to go. And like depending on what we have to work with on DraftKings, where you got to roster 2 pictures, he could be like a cash game guy. We got to look ahead though. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Jordan Montgomery, the lefty from the New York Yankees, visiting Jose Berrios of the Minnesota Twins.
Montgomery's a little interesting for me tomorrow. I want to see dig a little more deep into that and check out the Minnesota bats and how they've been hitting against lefties. Right now, from what I'm looking at, the top of the order for Minnesota is pretty decent, but their last 14 games they've been struggling against left-handers. As far as Berrios, the Yankees haven't been really hitting. I think they had a late score tonight because I think they only had 1 run when I looked, and then I looked back up and they had like 6-7 runs. So, but Berrios is somebody you're not really sure what you're going to get from him. Sometimes he pitches well. Lately, he hasn't been pitching well on the Yankees. Same thing with their offense. You don't know what you're going to get from him. So I may have a little bit of interest in both these in GPPs if I can't find enough pitching. And as far as bats, the bats anywhere when you're playing in Minnesota with both these teams, the bats are always in play, especially someone like Sano. I love Sano tomorrow against the left-handed. His stats are they jump off the chart at you.
Yeah, man. I think Sano hit a bomb today, man. He hit a missile.
Yeah.
I was watching him at my. Obviously, I'm a Met fan. But my father-in-law's a Yankee fan. I was, we were at his house. He was watching the Yankee game, and I just happened to look over the TV just in time to see Sano rocket a line drive over the center field fence. I was like, wow. Yeah, man. I think that it's interesting. Berrios on FanDuel, I think is like 9,000 or something like that. Like, isn't that ridiculous considering on DraftKings he's 6'7"? Isn't that just crazy? Yes. I don't hate Berrios. With that said, ironically, his xOBA numbers are decent, which is pretty good. And so he doesn't project to be all that terrible. And like you said, the Yankees have been terrible on the road. And they did well today. Didi Gregorius, shout outs to Patio Joe in the live show. He was preaching Didi. Shout outs to Patio Joe out there. But yeah, Berrios is like, what are you gonna do? It's you don't love targeting the Yankees, but like you said, Cuse, there's not too much pitching on this early slate that you're excited about, and you got to roster 2 guys. So like both these guys kind of become in play, like you said. Yeah. And so it's like, it's interesting.
just the only thing that concerns me is Minnesota. Minnesota's been playing as a hitter's park this year, so it all depends on the weather there.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
100%. And the other thing about it with like Barrios is like if the Yankees can get him out of the game, of course Minnesota has a bad bullpen, whereas the Yankees bullpen, even though they haven't been so hot lately, they're pretty good, and they're going to go back to being pretty good somewhat soon. So there seems to be more upside from that standpoint, but at the same time, Montgomery, I don't know, man. The Twins have been decent, and like Montgomery's Ks, I'm seeing on the road like 7.6 K per nine on the road, so that's like not phenomenal. So we got to dig in. We got to.
He's right in the he's right in the middle of the
Yeah, but again, if pitching is a scarce position, then that's obviously that makes or break the decision for sure.
Right.
All right, James Paxton, the lefty from the Seattle Mariners, visiting Charlie Morton of the Houston Astros.
I've loved Paxton all year. This is just one of those spots that I think the only way to play Paxton is in a GPP. If you're going to take a risk, he's going to be low owned. Nobody's ever going to take a pitcher going against the Astros. He could have a great game. He could get shelled. So his ownership will definitely be low tomorrow. So if he does have a good game and he puts up the numbers, he can definitely get you to the top in tournaments. Morton, I love Morton for value for DK2 tomorrow. He's pretty cheap if I remember right when I was looking at the prices.
On DraftKings, he's 7-7.
Yeah, so I mean, even if he gets you like 15, 16, which really shouldn't be that hard against Seattle, I'd be happy with that from him. So I definitely have a little bit of interest in Morton, even for cash. Looking in, I still want to look to the slate. I know who my obviously the DK1 is going to be. So finding that second pitcher for everybody is going to be tough. But Morton's somebody that interests me. As far as the bats, always got to consider the whole entire Houston lineup. They hit 1 through 9 no matter who's in there. As far as the Seattle bats, you got your Nelson Cruz probably. That's about the only bat that really interests me right now for them.
Yeah, it's the only thing, like on FanDuel, Paxton's 9K and Morton's 8.5 on DraftKings. Morton's 7.7. You want to guess how much Paxton is?
On
DraftKings.
I think Pat wasn't he around 10?
He's 7.4 from what I see on DraftKings. Oh
my god!
And like
that's pretty.
Doesn't that listen? It's early. I love Paxton. I like this guy, but doesn't that seem like almost like they're just daring you to take this guy? Like they're just daring you. Like go ahead. We'll give it to him for free.
Perfect.
Like go for it.
Perfect for tournaments. They did that the other day with wasn't it Lester? Did Lester was really low, or was that somebody else?
I don't remember about DraftKings. Lester was like 9 on FanDuel, so he might have been because like obviously Paxton's 9 now and on FanDuel. So, but
it was Arrieta. That's what.
Arrieta. Okay.
He was so low that and I still wasn't taking him. But Paxton's the whole story.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's like they're daring you. It's like when the sports books do it. Like they set a line that just looks ridiculous, and it's because they're begging you to take that other side.
Right.
And I know FanDuel has no gain for that. So I mean, DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever, like they wouldn't do that because there's no gain for them. Like they care less if you win or lose. They get their juice regardless. So it's like they just want you to play. That's all that matters to them. But yeah, it's like it almost seems like if I ever was gonna guess a trap initially on DraftKings, I'd be like, you need 2 pitchers. There's not a lot of options, and you can get Paxton for 7.4. It's just like it almost sounds like sounds very tempting, but it's Houston. That's the thing.
Yes, exactly.
It's Houston, and they're very good right now. Specifically, they're very good. Anyway, Clayton Richard, the lefty from the San Diego Padres, visiting John Gray of the Colorado Rockies.
No interest in either one of these pitchers right now. I know there's going to be a lot of people that have interest in Gray. The way that Coors has been playing out the first 2 days. The ball's it's not moving for the pitchers. The hitters are just teeing off on both sides. When's the last time you've seen San Diego put up the offense that they've been putting up in the first 2 games of the series? I think they had 7 when I looked at tonight, and they put up a big number last night. So most of the bats tomorrow I think are in play. Even the cheap bats, if you can get somebody cheap in one of these, the Order or even Blackman, there's enough. It's probably, I don't know how the pricing is on FanDuel, but I know it hasn't been very good lately. But you can probably get a top pitcher even with Blackman and still make a decent lineup.
Yeah, man. Definitely just based off, I think, Blackman's 5.8 on DraftKings. Those numbers just look astronomical. I don't play
5 on
DraftKings
FanDuel,
baseball much. Like I play it for football and a little bit of basketball, but I usually just play FanDuel for baseball. And when I see a price like 5.8, I'm just like, huh? Like it doesn't exist on FanDuel. Yeah. Gray hasn't looked all that great lately. The Mets teed him up. I don't mind him. I really don't. And the reason I don't mind him, like on DraftKings especially, is because I think maybe people may take Paxton over him as one of their guys, just because Paxton is $1,000 cheaper. So that makes me interested because Gray got trashed in Citi Field, which is if people are going to look at the park, they're not going to pay attention to the weather, or as something that Cuse likes to talk about, the VMI. They're not. They don't know the weather conditions and all that. They're just like, well, Citi Field's a pitcher's park, and they don't really take the weather too much into consideration. So I think that they might. Oh yeah, Gray. Oh yeah, I'm going to be sneaky and I'm going to take these Padres against Gray. And yeah, like obviously nobody likes to take Gray at home. Gray's, who wants to take a pitcher in Coors? But like he's still got the K upside, and the Padres are still one of the worst offenses in baseball. So I think it's. I wouldn't put him in cash. I just couldn't. Like I couldn't put.
No.
You couldn't put a. I just couldn't. But like in tournaments, I think he's interesting because he's 8-4. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm gonna pay 8-4 on DraftKings, and he's in Coors. It's almost like, you know what I mean? Like I can see that kind of steering people away. And really, if you take the park out of the equation, this is a really good matchup. It's John Gray against the Padres, But Coors went off today too. Remember that? It's been going nuts. So this whole series, it's been kind of, it's been going off.
VMI.
That's VMI. There you go. Q's gonna have to give you the breakdown on the VMI.
With the prices tomorrow, like I'd rather have Paxton and the GPP over Gray all day. Like his ownership's definitely going to be lower than Paxton.
Right.
So if he pitches great, yeah, he can do great for you. But with the way that Coors has been playing out,
right,
I'm not touching it.
I hear you, man. Definitely. I'm gonna look at that tomorrow for sure. And if you want to play it, apparently you can only play it on DraftKings, unless FanDuel might do an express. That's probably what they'll do. They'll probably release like a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Yeah. Do they not realize that like the whole purpose of late swap was so that you can do the longer slates? Like they don't like, you know what I'm saying?
But
it's like,
but the one thing I do like about it is, when you're playing on DraftKings, you don't have a lineup. You put a lineup in. Yeah. You don't have the lineups for the 3 o'clock games when you do that. Right. One guy gets out of your lineup and then you're running around going crazy trying to find guys to sub in.
I hear you. I get it, and like I know a lot of guys who like they like FanDuel because of that. Like they hate it, and then you have the other half who like complain like, "Come on, why'd you break up the slate?" And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like there's definitely like they're in a lose there. Like they're always going to be FanDuel and DraftKings. FanDuel is always going to be one side's going to love you, one side's going to hate you. It's just like, right. All right, we got Jacob Faria of the Tampa Bay Rays visiting Sonny Gray of the Oakland Athletics.
I love both pitchers for this game. Faria's been pretty consistent this year. I've been jumping all over him, even in cash games. I haven't looked at his log going into tonight, but I know he's been pitching well. Same thing with Gray. The only issue with Gray was that, all the trade talk and stuff like that. And every time, you go on Twitter, somebody's saying he's getting traded like 5 minutes before. Then I believe he got the words out that he got scratched before his last outing, and then 10 minutes later they said he wasn't scratched and he was out there pitching. So that's the one thing that kind of concerns me with Gray is you don't know when he's going to get. He's getting traded. They got to get something for him now. But I definitely like both pitchers in this game. With that being said, I'm not going to be much on the hitters in this game at all.
Yeah, man, I think I'm with you. I don't think there's a need to go here. Both these pitchers are pretty good, especially I love Faria. I think he's great.
Yeah, me too.
And he's shown us he's got the K upside. He's shown us that he can kind of hang around, even in starts where he's gotten roughed up in the beginning or like started, wasn't sharp. Like he still showed that he could like almost like a veteran. He could hang in there and he can get you the 5, maybe even 6. So yeah, I'm with you. I like both pitchers. I like especially Faria, but and again, I would like Gray more too against the Rays. It's just like you said, there's a lot on his mind. He might he might not pitch. He might get traded by the time we're done with this podcast. So
yeah, last time you guys had the show and that was mentioned, and 10 minutes before it start, there were word out that he wasn't even going to pitch.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to deal with the headache.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, we got Carlos Carrasco of the Cleveland Indians visiting Matt Cain of the San Francisco Giants.
Carrasco is probably going to be the chalk for cash tomorrow. I know his road splits have not been good, but you got to take into consideration that he is facing the Giants in a pitcher's ballpark, and the Giants have been striking out a little bit more than usual. You know, a lot of times people don't want to take them because they don't strike out a lot. But I think even tonight, I don't know what inning it was. You know, Clevenger had like 6 Ks through maybe like 5 innings, so you know they are definitely striking out a little bit more. And, you know, it's a safe play for cash, no doubt. As far as Cain's sneaky because, I mean, he doesn't have a high ceiling. You know, he's going to get you. He usually pitches very good at home. His road splits, I just had him up. I mean, his home splits, you know, he's 3-2 with a 2.98 ERA, which is, for him, is pretty good because his road splits are terrible. So, I mean, he's somebody that I don't really see a need to go there, but I mean, if you really want to stack up on bats, some expensive bats, he's definitely somebody you could look at. As far as bats tomorrow, for Cleveland, I love, you know, Jose Ramirez. The guy's just been lights out all year. Him and even E5, so that's about it for that.
Yeah, man, I have no interest in Cain whatsoever. I just don't think the Cleveland doesn't really strike out, and like Cain doesn't have the K upside, and like I know you're right about Cain's, like he's been better at home. But his xOBA numbers are still just like I couldn't. And like, even his xOBA home and away, he's 3.5% better at home. So like, I see a case for like being a little worried about like Cleveland chalk. I'd probably still go there. I mean, they probably won't even be chalk. There's a core slate, and we have they're definitely not. What am I talking about? I'm sorry. They're definitely not because it's San Francisco, and like people just hate taking bats in San Francisco. I think Cleveland could be interesting, for sure. I like Cleveland. And Carrasco, man, like, did I hear you say he's got bad road splits? Because it's the other way around. He's the man.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, he's on the road. At home, he's 5.8% better. His xOBA on the road. You only want to take Carrasco on the road. Now I said that. I said that the last time he pitched and he was home.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I only like him. He pitched great. I only like him on the road. It's the same thing I said to Patio Joe last night. I'm like, Chris Davis is he mentioned Chris Davis. And I was like, hey, it's a lefty, and Chris Davis's ISO against lefties is like 130. He hits a home run today off a lefty. So, you know, sometimes those things.
2 home runs.
2 home runs, excuse me. Yeah. Thanks, Cuse. Way to keep me while I'm down, bro. But hey, sometimes those things happen. And like, they're things that like they will happen. They're just not gonna happen as consistently. So, like, Carrasco, yeah, once in a while you can pitch him at home. If the game theory works out, go for it, and he might pay off like he did last time. But over the long haul of Carrasco, he's shown, even if you look at his career numbers, he just, for some reason, he's pitched better at home. I mean, I'm sorry, on the road. He's just been a better road pitcher. I don't know. Maybe he likes to go, you know, second. I don't know. Or I don't know. He likes to just, you know, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like
But if you try to stack horse tomorrow, can you do that without Cain tomorrow, salary-wise?
I think
like if you get a full course stack,
you couldn't with Carrasco. But
I mean, you can do it with Cain though. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying to use you can, but like Cain might get you negative points. Like he has the potential to get you negative points. You know what I'm saying? Like he could because Cleveland could just knock him out early.
True.
Like, is there anybody that? No, definitely not that. Definitely not. Okay, I'm looking at the guys now.
Pretty decent on the road at home though.
No, you're right. His numbers are decent at home, but like, I just like especially on DraftKings where you get deducted from like hits and whip and all that, you know, that kind of stuff. His whip is at home is still 1.41, and then his K per 9 at home is 6.15 this year. And then on top of that, Cleveland doesn't strike out. They just got done playing against 2 lefties, and we know they struggle against lefties as it is. So now they get Matt Cain, they get a right-handed pitcher, you know, after seeing 2 lefties, and like now they're getting comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's like back to their comfort zone. It just seems like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. He's 4.8. So it's like, but like, if you think, I think it makes sense if you don't think he's gonna get bombed. Like, I'm not saying he has to do great, but even if he gets you a 0, he's cheap enough.
10 points.
Yeah, 10 points even. Yeah, he's cheap enough to eat. Like, I totally get it. But you need to be really sure that stack or that you're going with is going to go off. If it's cores, you just have to be really sure it's going to go off. Because like when people do that, how many times have we seen people take like relief pitchers just to punt it because they really want to load up on the bat? And like it could work. It's just you have to make sure your stack goes through. It has to hit. That's the only thing. But it's definitely interesting for sure. Let's see. Okay, that was it for the DraftKings slate. That's a wrap there. So let's move on to the main slate here. Hey, this is our first look. We always say it's the podcast first look. It's a chance to get our first impressions out, and there you go. So real quick before we get started, guys, we're still running the promo for 20% off on your membership. Any membership, you can go there. We have a trial day pass, we have a week pass, and we have a month pass. The month pass makes most sense. Obviously, you'll save the most money. Pretty good deal. And you'll save 20% if you use the promo code podcast. And we're only advertising that on the podcast. This way, only our podcast listeners will get the lowdown. You know, it's something special we're doing for our podcast listeners. So, awesome. We ready to do this main slate now?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. We got Martin Perez, the lefty from the Texas Rangers, visiting Kevin Gausman of the Baltimore Orioles.
I have no interest in Perez. Gausman, he's been pitching a little bit better. I have a little bit of interest in him. Texas is kind of, they haven't really hit much in the series. Like watching them, I don't know I can't remember how many runs they put up today, but they're not getting the complete hitting from that. So I think Gausman is definitely somebody you could consider for tournaments. Definitely not cash. As far as the bats, Baltimore's starting to heat up. We saw what they did today. Chris Davis had two dongs, and their exit velocities are up. All their numbers are up. So I definitely have interest in, maybe the top 6. And as far as Texas, there's some bats in there that I might have interest if I don't have Gausman.
Yeah, man, for sure. I think Gausman, like you said, a GPP, he's someone worth considering. Now, his whip is high, 1.6. That's scary. The bottom line is we know this. If Gausman could very well get blown up. He can get beat up real bad, but he's got a 9K per 9 at home. So he does have somewhat of upside, and we know the Rangers do strike out a lot. So, Beltre's back. Keep that in mind. They've been hitting well and all that kind of stuff, but still, it's the truth. Now, I'm not saying Gausman, and I don't think you're either, Cuse. We're not saying Gausman is our favorite GPP option. We're just saying you can consider him. And like you said, Cuse, if I end up not having any interest in Gausman, which I probably won't, I have interest in the Texas bats for sure. His xOBA to lefties is ridiculous, 381. Definitely want to target him. Now the only issue is, of course, Texas does strike out. So if Gausman is on, and we've seen that he's been better at home. So even though it's a hitter's park, he's been better at home for some reason. So I guess it's a comfort thing, but definitely. And as far as Martin Perez, man, everything you said about Baltimore, I'm right on with it, man. I think that they're starting to wake up. They have good hitters. They're not having a good year, but they have some good hitters, and they're going to start hitting good again. You know, and
they're getting healthy.
They're healthy. Chris Davis is back. Oh boy, is he back?
He killed me today.
Yeah. So I definitely I'm with you, man. I like the bats in this game for sure. Zach Davies from the Milwaukee Brewers visiting Garrett Cole of the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is interesting.
I have no interest in either pitcher for this game. I just think there's better spots on the slate as far as hitting. Pittsburgh hitters, I really don't think there's any need to even go there. As far as Milwaukee, I like a lot of the Milwaukee lefties in this matchup against Cole. They've been crushing the ball, especially Shaw. Shaw's been off the chart. We talked about him during the live show today. So that they're starting to hit the ball, and I think tomorrow they can definitely get to Cole, even though it's a pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah, man. It's funny because on paper it looks great, and what's funny to think about? I'm looking at FanDuel salaries now that we're on the main, and Garrett Cole is 8.5 against the Brewers, and Ivan Nova was 8.2. That's what Cole has succumbed to. He's only worth on FanDuel $300 more in the same matchup. That's what he's succumbed to. And listen, he's 2.4% better as xWOBA at home this year, but his K per 9 is just down, dude. 7.5 Ks per 9 for Cole at home. It's just not
he has no ceiling.
That's the issue.
What's he gonna get you?
Yeah.
What's he gonna get you?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally get the merit in a tournament. I get it because just based on the fact that the Brewers can have a bad game. But keep this in mind. There's 2 particular lefties over there that are pretty scary, and Thames and Shaw. And his hard contact rate over the last 30 days, or his exit velocity over the last 30 days, is 92 for lefties and righties, and his hard contact for lefties is 42%. So just keep that in mind. He's getting hit hard, like you said, Cuse. He's getting hit hard by lefties. So with that said, his whip is actually decent at home, 1.27. I think Cole is interesting in tournaments. It's just with the guys like DeGrom on the slate, etc. I just don't think like in cash you really want to go there. For in FanDuel anyway, in FanDuel, I'm not really sure how much he is on DraftKings, but I think Cole. You know what? I think Cole. Cole. You know how much he is on DraftKings?
I had it just pulled up. It's got to be toward the bottom, I would imagine. Maybe not. He is 8.9 on DraftKings.
Okay, so he's a little more expensive. I think he's interesting. I do have some interest in Cole, but it won't be in cash. Like on FanDuel, it won't be in cash. Maybe on DraftKings, but that's kind of high for cash because he's not going to be your number one. So that's kind of high.
He's got to at least get you almost like 18, 19, 20 points, and I don't see him I just don't see that happening with him. Not against Milwaukee, even with their K upside.
It's possible. I mean, like, listen, do I think it's gonna happen? Like, do I feel safe with Garrett Cole? No, but I can see it. You know, like it's one of those things where like it could happen. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. Milwaukee's been pretty hot. They've been hitting the ball pretty well.
Yeah, their exit velocities are way up.
Yeah, as a team, they're just hitting the ball well. But like, if somebody wanted to, I wouldn't like hate it. It's just realize Cole is not the Cole he used to be. His swinging strike rate is like 9 or something like that. That's not Garrett Cole of like what he was. Yeah. Not the same guy. And Davies, I have no interest. The Pirates. No interest, but matter of fact, I think I like the Pirates. To be honest with you, I think I like the Pirates offense. Just did his name and laughed. That's like, anyway. Aaron Sanchez of the Toronto Blue Jays visiting Drew Pomeranz, the lefty from the Boston Red Sox.
I have no interest in Sanchez. I think he can have a decent game, but the problem is always facing Boston is they don't strike out. It's going to be the same thing tomorrow. Pomeranz, if he was on the road, I'd like him. I rarely roster Pomeranz at home at Fenway. His numbers are a little bit down at Fenway, so I definitely like some of the Toronto bats against him. Like Martin, Smoke, Morales. The middle of the order. As far as the Boston bats, they're starting to heat up a little bit. They're hitting, but not not a team that has, if you stack, they're gonna help you. They got 2-3 hitters at different every game that are doing good, but they're starting to hit a little bit better.
Yeah, man, we know what the Red Sox are capable of. Like, so I do have interest in them, and especially if they, if they may go overlook, because Sanchez obviously is a guy that used to be good last year, and this year I was expecting regression, and then before we really got it, he got hurt, and then he came back, and now we're starting to see it, but we don't know if it's really regression or if it's just he's back from injury and he's rusty. I think the Red Sox are certainly in play. The thing about Pomeranz is I like Pomeranz. His Ks have been better at home. And I think he has the upside. It's just Toronto's not striking out a ton this year. And they're so right-handed. So it's like, I just don't know what upside he's going to bring us. Like put it like, all right, Pomeranz is 8.4. I would rather play Cole than Pomeranz as of now. First look. Just like a first look on FanDuel. If I had to pick one of those guys, I think I'd rather go Cole because the matchup. Because Toronto is like, just for K, Pomeranz can strike out way more naturally. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not even close. It's just like, one, the ballparks, right? Like, Cole's in a big, huge ballpark, and Boston is little, and it's going to be warm up there, humid, warm.
And very hot.
Right. And then on top of that, like, look at the offenses. Okay, you got Thames, and you have Braun and Shaw, right? Those are the 3 guys. Batista, Donaldson, Smoke, Morales, Tulo, like these are all home run hitters. like you know what I mean? So it's like, so I don't know. Maybe I got to dig it in before I say look at the profiles. I want to see what how they profile up pitch type wise and all that kind of stuff. And I more importantly, I like to get a feel of what everybody else is going to do. The next day, I like to get a feel, just to know the feel. But it's interesting for sure. We'll have to dig in there. Mike Leake of the St. Louis Cardinals visiting Jacob deGrom of my New York Mets.
Leake I have no interest in. deGrom obviously going to be the chalk pitcher for tomorrow, especially at home. St. Louis has been hitting the ball a little bit better, but I mean with the options that you have, I think you're almost forced to play deGrom in cash tomorrow. As far as the bats, St. Louis, there's a few guys, if you don't play deGrom, that have been hitting the ball. Like, we talked about DeJong today. He's still really cheap on, actually all their batters are cheap on FanDuel. I think I don't even know if they have anybody 3,000. I think everybody's under 3,000. So if they go off and they have a big game against DeGrom and you want to be super ultra contrarian, that's a really cheap stack that you can get. As far as the Mets bats, I love them against righties, but after what they did to me today, I'm not touching them. They kill me.
Yeah, they gotta have it. They hurt. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too crazy about stacking Leak with the Mets. Leak's xOba this year to lefties is only 284, and to righties is 289. So he's having a good season. He is. And the Mets, like we were talking before the show, man, I love my team. They're in dysfunction right now. Like they don't know who's going to be here. They don't know who's going to get traded. They thought they were going to contend for a World Series, and now they're about to sell. Now Bruce is about to be out of here, and Asdrubal, they're talking about Asdrubal playing somewhere else, but was the Red Sox or something like that. And so it's just not really a good time to take him. I do like DeGrom a lot. I always preach about how he's better at home, 2% better at home this season alone. According to his XO, but his K per 9, you gotta love his K per 9 at home. His WHIP is only 1.18. Leak's WHIP actually is 0.94. So it's like on DraftKings he's interesting. Like he doesn't have the K upside against the Mets because they're not striking out. But this is a situation. Do you know how much he is on DraftKings by any chance?
Who's that, Leak?
Yeah.
Leak is 6'6".
Wow, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
For a Mets offense that really hasn't been doing all that great. Leak's having a great season. Yeah, you might not get the Ks, but like he can eat some innings,
Yeah, I mean, definitely. After watching that game today, in the not only it wasn't just their hitting, like their fielding.
Right.
They were making errors that major league teams shouldn't be making. There were guys throwing gloves. There's a lot of disarray with that team right now.
Right.
So I wouldn't have any problem. Considering Leak, especially at his price, if you really need to.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting, right? Like on FanDuel, I don't think we're doing it, but on DraftKings as an SP2, I think
Right.
Why not, right? Anyway, Zach Greinke of the Arizona Diamondbacks visiting Tim Adelman of the Cincinnati Reds. I don't know what happened there. Go ahead.
Greinke's definitely interesting. Cincinnati, they didn't K a lot at the beginning of the year. They're starting to get a little more strikeouts. With DeGrom, honestly, I think everybody's going to be going DeGrom, so a lot of people might sleep on Greinke. I want to dig into it more tomorrow, see how he profiles against Cincinnati, but he's definitely, it almost reminds me of the Lester the other day, where everybody was up on, who was the pitcher that everybody was up on the day that Lester was pitching? McCullers. It's almost the same thing. Everybody's going to be up on him. Everybody's going to forget about Greinke. Cincinnati has been hitting the ball pretty well. Their stats are, Vladdo's crushing the ball, Duvall, Gannett, Kozar. So a lot of people aren't going to be touching Greinke. So if you don't play Greinke, I like the Cincinnati bats, and I have no interest in Adelman or so the Arizona bats, if they hit it like they did today, they're almost all in play.
Yeah, man, I think I think it makes a lot of sense. With what you said about how everybody's going to go to DeGrom and they're going to get their mind made up and they may overlook Greinke. It does kind of remind you of the McCullers. Like I don't think DeGrom is going to bust as bad as McCullers did, but at the same time, we could see Greinke have a better game than Lester had. So it's like it's almost like a more extreme version of it. But yeah, listen, I love the Reds. I preach the Reds all the time, but like you said, lately they've been striking out a little more. We're starting to see that a little more. I don't know what it is, but they're starting to strike out a little bit. And two, it's just from game theory perspective. Like in cash games, I'm going to DeGrom all day. But in tournaments, you could easily just slide Greinke in there instead. Just going off of game theory, it's the same thing that I said on the live show today about Peacock. Remember we were all preaching about Peacock, became Peacock. And what brought me to that realization, I did all my research and I was like, Peacock's got a decent shot here, right? Like I figured that out. And the next method was, wait a minute, okay, so Kershaw's going, everybody's going to avoid Peacock. They're going to skip him because he's still in the 9s or so on FanDuel. And they're going to, and on top of that, McCullers, who's Houston's best pitcher, quote unquote, just got rocked by Seattle. So there's no way they're going to take Peacock. And they didn't. He was super low owned. And he ended up scoring, just as much as Kershaw did.
Number one on the model still? Was he number one?
He was number one on the model. Yeah. Oh, no, he was maybe number 2. Ray might have been ahead of him.
Right.
Ray may have. He was number 1 or 2. He was up there though.
He was one earlier in the day. So
well, was he? It could have
Yeah.
changed because I remember when the lineups update, it changes
Right.
based off the lineups. With their K percentage and all that, but he was 1 or 2 all day. Like the model loved him, and the model always loves Peacock, and for good reason. He did great, man. He came through with the model. There we go. Good call.
And if JD Martinez, I don't know if he's supposed to play tomorrow either,
man,
but if
that was huge.
You put him into that lineup.
Wow.
It's definitely going to be probably an offense that a lot of people are going to target tomorrow. I mean, use for stacks.
I hope they add. If he does play, I hope they add him to the salaries. I have a feeling he won't play. Just because I feel like, but like, I don't know. Maybe,
yeah, I don't know how that works with the salaries on it.
Yeah, I don't know. but I agree with you about Greinke, though. Adelman, the thing is, if JD Martinez is playing, I want nothing to do with, I probably won't play Adelman regardless, but I will definitely want nothing to do with him. You know what I mean?
He's had a few decent games, but this is definitely not a time that I'm interested in him.
Yeah, I got to check because if JD Martinez is in there, I'm with you. But if JD Martinez isn't, like, he's had some kind of K upside, and Arizona can strike out a lot, especially on the road. So it's like I don't love it, but like at his price, on DraftKings, I think he's more expensive, right? On DraftKings, he's like significantly more expensive.
Adelman is his third cheapest pitcher on DraftKings at 5.2.
Oh, he's at 5.2. Oh, okay, I see. So he's more expensive. Okay, I understand. Okay. Yeah, it's got a high total. It's tough. I got to dig into this one, man, because Adelman's been decent, but at the same time, he's really struggled to lefties a little bit. And like Lamb had a triple today, he could be heating up a little bit. Peralta, and if JD's
Arizona doesn't hit.
Yeah,
Arizona doesn't hit on the road.
Yeah,
today was one of the first games in a long time that I can remember that they actually put up a bunch of runs on the road.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They've been terrible. I've been talking, and that's the only reason that we're spending so much time with me talking about Adelman. I'm trying to talk myself kind of to be interested a little bit. I'm trying to. Like, I don't want to, but I'm trying to because I see the K per 9 at home, and I'm like, interesting. And then like see that X orbit of righties. I'm like, okay, well, they only have like 2 lefties, really, unless the Scalzo plays. And so I'm like, I doubt her mom's going to play because if JD played, but that's the only thing. Right. JD Martinez would scare me off. That guy alone would probably scare me off because that guy could hit anywhere.
After today's game, I'll be all, I don't. If they would have had a bad game today, Arizona, I would have definitely had more interest in Adelman. But after the way they hit today, I don't know yet.
That's it, brother. It's the perception. It's you gotta wait till they're like, oh hell no, and then you just jump on them like what we did with Peacock today, baby. Easier said than done, obviously. Yes. All right, let's see. We got Kenta Maeda of the Los Angeles Dodgers visiting Carlos Rodon, the lefty from the Chicago White Sox. Man, these are some tough decisions on this slate, man. This main slate, some really tough decisions.
Very tough. I have a little interest in both pitchers. Maeda, obviously, he's been pitching pretty well for the Dodgers this year. And as we talked about, the White Sox they're not hitting lefties as good as they were earlier in the year. And Rodon is I haven't looked at his game log, but he hasn't been. He's one of those pitchers that he gets hit a little bit, but he's not going to hurt you a lot. I'm just looking at his game log real fast. He's got 3 games. His last game out, he only put up 3 on DK, but before that he had a 10 and a 30. So I mean, he's going up against the Dodgers, but the Dodgers this year against lefties are actually crushing the ball. So looking at that now, I probably won't touch the Rendon.
What the Dodgers?
Have
they been hitting lefties lately? Because most of the year they were terrible. Most of the year they were struggling real bad against them, and then Forsythe got hurt eventually, and they were just. But now Enrique's been hitting lefties pretty good. They got Trace Thompson up. I think Barnes has been doing okay. Chris Taylor's finally coming around. Turner's been hitting lefties, and then obviously Forsythe is healthy. So like, they were struggling against lefties a lot more before. For sure.
Right.
For sure. They're starting to kind of come around and start to hit these guys a little bit. That's a great point.
Yeah, they're all up on mine. They're all up in green. So that's, then you got Seager. His exit velocity is almost over 100. So, there'll be an offense at the target, but I'm not sure it's, I maybe would like, 2 batters from the Dodgers. I don't think I'm going to do a full stack with them just because Rondon hasn't had that super blow-up potential yet that I've seen.
Yeah, Rodon is pretty good. It's just, when a guy comes back, we've seen him, when he came back from injury, we've seen him have a couple shaky starts. I think he had one pretty good start, but we also had like a one or two shaky starts. So like
Yeah.
you got to wonder. The model's not going to like him because it doesn't have a sample size for him this year.
Right.
So the model's got him like terrible, but that's because it's only got him for like a couple games, especially when you split it up to home and away. He's like for one game on the season or something like that. So you're gonna have to do some further research there. But yeah, man, I'm not quite sure what to do with this game just yet. It's a high 5.5 total for the Dodgers. It's hard not to like the Dodgers, even against the lefty. But Rodon is a lefty that can kind of earn your respect. You have to respect him a little bit. I mean, I definitely think Maeda is interesting. A righty against this team. It's just with Maeda, you never know how long he's gonna go, man. It's like you never know. But hey, man, we're gonna have to check out the articles tomorrow and the live shows and find out after we do our research what what we like, what Paulie likes, what Joe likes, what all the guys like, and we'll figure it out together. But there's some tough decisions so far, man.
That's some pretty good slates.
Yeah. Justin Verlander, Ian Kinsler. Justin Verlander of the Detroit Tigers visiting Jason Hamill of the Kansas City Royals. It's been a long, long day. Go ahead, Cuse.
I don't like either one of these pitchers. Neither one, I feel, can either. Obviously not in cash, and even in GPPs, I don't think they can give me the upside to match DeGrom or Greinke. So I have no interest in either pitcher. And the batters, I have a little bit of interest in both sides for batting tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I think it's interesting. I don't like Hamill, and like the Tigers have been, Castellanos has been crushing,
yes,
just absolutely mashing that ball. But is he wait, I know they played a lefty. He played two lefties in a row, right?
Yeah, his righty splits are
not
anywhere near,
right? Yeah,
right.
That's a little alarming. Verlander, I would like to like last year I was all over Verlander. This year I've been staying away. Something doesn't seem right with him again. He seems to be back into where he was 2 years ago. His Ks are there, but his xOBA to lefties and righties are both over 300, which is a little alarming. I don't like Hamill. That's well known by people who listen to me. I don't like Hamill, so I'm all in for I'm down with Detroit. It's concerning though. Keep in mind they just lost JD Martinez. That's a huge blow. And he was hurt for the beginning of the season. Remember how bad they were before he came back? And they weren't that great, but at least he was good. But this team really sucked when he was gone.
Who's gonna take over his spot?
Oh,
I'm trying
Presley?
to think of who's the other outfielder.
Presley, Mickey Matuk and Presley. I think that's gonna be.
It's either Matuk or Presley, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Well, I think they're both gonna have to play.
Yeah, which is not a very good lineup.
Yeah, no, it's.
Once you get down there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So it's like I don't like the guy. You know what? But at the same time, I still don't like Hamill. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I don't like the guy. So yeah, I think it's bats for me here too, for sure. Gio Gonzalez, a lefty from the Washington Nationals, visiting Alex Meyer of the Los Angeles Angels.
I love Gonzalez. The guy's just been flat out pitching really well this year. I've been taking him probably his last 2-3 times out, and he hasn't let me down. I think last time out on, I don't know what it was on DK. I think FanDuel he put up on DraftKings he almost put up a 30. Put up 30. 2 of his last 3 games have been almost in 30 on DraftKings, which is pretty outrageous. I mean, it's really good for him. So I know that the Angels don't strike out a lot, but I'll still take my chances. You never know if he gets like 4 or 5, 6 strikeouts and he goes longer into the game for innings. You're going to get your points from there. As far as Nolasco, don't have any interest in him. Love the Washington bats against him, and don't have any interest in the Angels bats at all.
Man, I have a little bit of interest here in the Angels. Not a ton. They let me down a little bit today, but like
besides Trout.
Yeah, wait, obviously. Trout hooked it up. Shout out to Patio Joe. It was his play of the day, right? And
bobblehead day. Trout bobblehead day.
Oh, it was Trout. When today?
Yeah. I'm big on that. You know that.
Oh yeah. It was Trout bobblehead. Okay, well, good. I played him. I played it. He was Patio Joe's like play of the day or whatever. So shout out to him. He was right about the home run there. Anyway. Listen, man. I only play Gio at home. I just don't, and like the K upside, and the reason is because his K ups, like his K per nines at home compared to the road, are drastically different, man. At home, it's like high, it's like 9 or something like that, and on the road, it's like 7.9. So it's like But at the same time, the Angels offense we got to see again today. You know, I took a little mini stack. I took Trout and Maben. Of course, Maben gets hurt trying to steal a base.
He got hurt.
He got hurt the first inning. He got a single,
Oh.
tried to steal second, and got hurt. I didn't see it. I just saw the thing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But anyway, you worry about the upside, but like if they can hit Gio, Washington's bullpen's terrible. So you always got to keep that in mind. As good as the Nationals are. You know what's interesting? This is going to be a Paulie special because the Nationals can strike out, and they're banged up. They got a lot of lefties, but remember, they're banged up. They're missing Trey Turner, which is a big blow, and they're missing Worth, who honestly, they probably prefer Goodwin. But I'm just gonna.
Goodwin's been playing pretty
He's
good.
been playing well, but Alex Myers got K upside, and he's pitched much better at home this year. The thing is, he's got a serious walk problem. You know, Myers. He has a hard time throwing strikes.
Just gonna say that.
But if he has an umpire that's decent. Like, think about it. Jesse Chavez, like the Nats only scored as of right now, they only scored 4 runs so far against Jesse Chavez.
Yeah.
Myers got better stuff than Chavez, and Myers has some K stuff. So, like, listen, I don't love it, but, like, it's interesting. I'm going to watch this line here because Gio minus 120 against Alex Meyer. It kind of seems like, you know, almost too easy for, like, if you're a sports bettor and looking at that line. You know, doesn't that seem a little too easy? I could take Gio Gonzalez who's been consistent as hell against this kid, Alex Meyer, who can't throw strikes. Yeah.
It's a team that doesn't score.
Right. So like for that reason, I think Meyer's interesting. Do I love him? No, you're not gonna love him. Nobody's gonna love him. But it's one of those things where you got to look into the numbers. Paulie D's real big on umpires. We could always ask Paulie in the chat tomorrow. Like give us a little report on the umps. But yeah.
The thing about Meyer, you know, he walks a couple guys, and then, you know, you get the Washington Power comes up, they hit a home run, it's 3 runs.
Oh
yeah.
He's,
like you said, that's the only thing that bothers me with Myers is walks. If it was a team that didn't have, you know, good power, then I'd feel different about it.
Right, exactly. The walks are scary, but for sure. That's it. Check that out. We got through it. How about that? 2 slates, Cuse. How about that,
Not
man?
too bad.
We did it, man. Now it's time for some dong watch, bro. You ready? We'll do the standard 4-3-2. No course.
Any slate doesn't matter.
Yeah. Any slate. As long as
you gonna let me go first?
Yeah. Of course.
You sure?
Oh yeah, go for it, bro.
All right, Stanton.
Yeah. That's
this guy's been on fire.
He has been
man.
on fire. He's certainly been on fire. Let's see. Who do I want to go? Give me. I said 4, right? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with Jose Ramirez here against Matt Cain. I'm gonna test it, bro. I'm gonna test it. I know we had the debate on Cain. I'm gonna take a shot, and I don't feel like scrolling to find another 4K guy. And I came across his name, and I'm like, yo, he's been hot, and Cain's been bad. He's gonna be hitting from the left side. It's interesting. He'd be a good tournament play anyway, because I think Cleveland's, you know, Ramirez specifically is he's never really that popular. So why not take a shot?
I like Ramirez.
Take a shot. I like Ramirez too.
He's always been hot this year.
For sure, he's having a great year.
It's what is
We're
it?
in the
3K up.
3K up.
Machado.
Oh, I like that. I'm on the same game. I'm staring, and I was looking at the other side though. I like Machado. I wasn't even looking over there. I was gonna go Mazzara, and I thought, I'll go Mazzara. That's what we'll do. I'll go Mazzara. It's funny. I'm looking at the game. You said Machado, and my eyes happened to reach his name. I was like, oh, there he is. All right, man. 2K or less.
Moreland.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, 2K or less?
Yeah, 2K or less.
3K or less.
Wait, didn't we just do the 3K?
3K and up or 3?
It was 4 up, 3 up, and now 2.
2 up.
2 up. I'm sorry, under 3. Under 3.
I'm
like I said, it's been a long day, man. It's been a long day, bro.
I know, me too. Mitch Moreland.
All right, Mitch Moreland. Yeah, I was trying to get a little advantage on you there, but you caught on, bro. You caught me.
Been a long day for me too.
I hear you, man. I hear you, for sure, man. All right, so now I gotta find a cheap guy. Let's see. No, I don't think I want to go there. Man, kind of tough at this. Better. I think I got a guy. I'm gonna try. Give me Kyle Schwarber, assuming he plays. Give me Kyle Schwarber against Dickey. That's interesting.
I thought you were gonna say Tulo.
Yeah, I thought about Tulo, and then I was like, man, he's just been he's like not even hitting the ball. So I was like, you know, like he's struggling, man. He's struggling this whole season, man. I knew when he left the Rockies he'd be in trouble. Hey man, listen, I appreciate you putting up with me today. I know I was a little, you know, it's been a long day for both of us. We worked hard today.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we did a lot of work on the site, and then, you know, of course, like you know, some of us like yourself have a personal life to maintain as well. Appreciate it, guys. Listen, don't be shy, man. Come out, go to whitestick.com, check us out. I appreciate you guys into the podcast. The podcast ain't going anywhere, man. We love doing this. We have a lot of fun bringing on some of the guys. Let you hear some of the different personalities, but the guys have been killing it. The whole team, Cuse's stuff, his write-ups, and obviously the premium stuff with Joe, even Gady, Jason Gady, Slim Gady with the exit velocity articles. They're very interesting, very innovative. He's been doing a phenomenal job. Those are free as well. But yeah, man, Patio Joe and Paulie have been crushing. They write our premium cash and GPP articles. The live shows have been great, man. Today was awesome. We had a lot of people. It was live. We had the chat going. It was a lot of fun, man. So it's a community thing, man. It's a movement. So don't forget, if you want to sign up any package, if you use the promo code podcast, you'll save 20% on your membership. So anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that like button. It means a lot to us. The thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes for the audio-only version, subscribe to the channel there and give us some positive 5-star reviews. We'd like to bump up those charts and reach more people because we believe that we're truly trying to help people. If you want to play DFS, we're trying to help you, and that's what we're here for. So check us out. Anyway, Cuse, man, appreciate the time, brother. Good luck with everything. I'm sure we'll be talking tomorrow like we always do.
Always.
And as always, guys, good luck.
Yeah.